Hang tight.
From Erie's own Government Access, Channel 9, from the City Hall Council Chambers, it's time once again for the Taxpayers Hotline Show. And now, ladies and gentlemen, your host,
Good afternoon, and this is Kaskatowski City Councilman, and welcome to Taxpayers Hotline. The rules real quick, any subject, you can talk about any subject you want. We're 1 hour commercial free, where you'll generate the topics, and I'll try to answer them for you. And the only thing we ask is keep it in the bounds of good taste, and try not to get personal, and the rest is yours. Go ahead, caller, you're the first one.
Just want to let you know your city employees, they do a good job plowing, and cleaning off the sidewalks and that. But there's only one problem in that: when they plow the streets, they plow in the handicaps. Yesterday I rode down in the street to go to Dollar General, and you couldn't even get near the place.
Which Dollar General?
The Dollar General on State Street.
Oh, okay, the one up there about 23rd, like, or something?
But it ain't on 23rd. It's on Lower State Street.
Oh, that Dollar General.
Yeah.
And you couldn't get in there.
No, I couldn't get in there, and then I went to talk to the dispatcher at the police department.
Mm-hmm.
And I did mention it to him. I says, I don't have a police report, but your city does a good job cleaning up the sidewalks and the streets and that, but they're blocking the handicaps.
Which handicaps are they blocking? You mean the parking meters?
No, the ones where you go up with your wheelchair.
Oh, you mean the, yeah.
Yeah, they blocked that all in.
Well, the problem is they can't lift the plows up all the time.
No, I know that.
And it's really downtown. It's the job of the downtown. You might want to give the Downtown Improvement District a call. I'll try to get their number for you. And they would be the ones that should be keeping the downtown clean.
Yeah.
And as for the rest of the city, that's really the job of the people that, even though that's it's a city right away, it's the job of the property owners to keep that clean. So I mean, the city doesn't have the. They got to keep the streets clean.
Yeah, I know that. They do a good job doing that.
And it's really up to the private individuals to keep that clean. In the case of downtown, though, we have the Downtown Improvement District, which I believe does have some equipment and should be keeping that clean. Now, yesterday, that was a pretty quick storm, so.
Yeah, it was. It was pretty quick, yeah.
Because I have seen them trying to, I think they have, the downtown district has kept some of the handicapped ramps and stuff open, haven't they, all year?
Well, yeah. I ran into a guy with the tractor. I finally got up onto the sidewalk.
Yeah.
Because someone must have shoveled it out.
Yeah, they don't have many men, I know that. So, yesterday was kind of a flash thing, but...
Sure.
But I do agree with you. I think that, overall we're the leader right now, 130-some inches in the country, so I don't think we've never been shut down, really. We've been able to get around, so that's a tribute to our plowing.
Yeah, you got good plowers.
And that's the whole area. You take, not once, they've tried to keep the highways open, the interstate.
Yeah.
And, the city's been open, the suburbs have been open, so, it's been a heck of a winter, and I think, they take their share of grief, but it's a tough job, and you can't always lift the plows up, because these are not like homeowners' plows.
Somewhere around where the bus stops are, because I got off on 12th and State today, and I asked them to pull up to the driveway where the bank is,
right,
on 12th and State, because I don't want to get up into the snow and end up get stuck.
I think, in the case of like like you say, the downtown district, they have an obligation to keep that clean, and the bus stop should be being kept clean by the EMTA.
Yeah.
You know, that's their babies, you know, and that's part of their, you know, we all got to kind of work together, and that, you know.
Right.
But like when you get outside the downtown area, you know, it's up to businesses to keep the sidewalks clean and all that. And especially, you know, it's good, it used to be that the merchants and the people that own property, lived on the corners,
Yeah.
would try to keep those open, you know.
Yeah. Well,
That could be-
someone did open it yesterday, and then when I saw a guy, he was on a green John Deere, and I kind of interrupted him, and he says, well, I'll open the one up for you. I said, yeah, they did open it up, but people should try to keep them all open.
Yeah, it's a tough job, and yesterday was you know, it's kind of like right now we're getting ready to put the plows away.
Yeah.
And-
I hope this is the last storm.
Well, you know, it's hard to say. I get the feeling that, you know, we won't have too much more.
Yeah, I sure hope not.
But like yesterday, it's almost all gone. It was almost all gone by, that storm was pretty much, the streets were melted already by afternoon.
Because, see, we had the rain and sleet. We had the freezing rain, sleet, and then changed it over to all snow.
Yeah, I can remember if we'd had this kind of snow when I was in high school, we'd have been paralyzed because we had rear-wheel drive cars.
Yeah.
We didn't have the plows we do today. We didn't have a lot of the equipment we do. The four-wheel drive vehicles, you know, people have that now.
Drive back then either.
Pardon?
You probably didn't have four-wheel drive back.
No, not that much. That was a rarity, you know.
Yeah, didn't back in '56 that you guys had to call the National Guards?
That was when I was a young man. I mean, I don't remember that. I was 8 years old. But I do remember.
Remember it either, because I was born in '59.
Yeah, I mean, they weren't ready for that kind of, you know.
Yeah.
I think that snowfall we got like 20-some inches overnight, like. It was, you know.
Yeah.
It was a brutal one. But, you know, we've learned to accommodate, and it's strange. Like, even when they shut down the schools and everything else, they do find their way to the mall, don't they?
Yeah.
People still get up to the mall somehow.
Yeah, I do get up to the mall. I ride the city bus.
Even though they closed down the schools, there's a lot of kids up there that day, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, who's kidding who, right?
Right.
I think the guys do a good job, and I think, you know, I will tell Mr. Zisk when I see him.
Yeah, he does. They do a good job plowing. I admit it. They do a good job plowing.
Yep, it's a tough job. Nobody, you know.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, you get beat up pretty bad at night.
Yep, you sure do.
It's a you know, it beats you physically, and then you got to get up and maybe do it again, you know, the next night.
Yep.
Plus your regular duties. So I mean, it's not easy.
Right.
It's a young man's game.
Yep. Well, I'll leave you go.
Okay, thanks for calling, and
All right.
I will talk to, you know, DID and EMTA if I come across and tell them, like, next winter, maybe they can do something to help you out a little better.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, he did bring up a point about that. We had a ton of snow this year, and I think overall, I don't think anybody can really complain. Nobody likes snow on their sidewalks, but that's part of the byproduct. Go ahead, caller.
Yeah, I got a question I want to ask you, Kaz.
Yes.
The street pavement season is just around the corner.
Right.
And I wonder why the contractors refuse to raise the manhole covers even the streets. Why do they do that?
What?
The city let them get away with that.
Well, that's what it is. They're letting them get away with it because if we wanted to, we have the ability not to pay them.
Yeah, well, that's what should happen. I mean, some of the streets are ridiculous. I mean,
well, yeah, there's a minimum and a maximum. I remember one time. Do you remember that one at? I'm trying to think now. 12th and French.
Yeah.
Right by the old donut shop.
Yeah.
There was a hell of a dip there for a while.
Yeah.
And I remember I wasn't a councilman then. I was the controller, but I said, you know, you got to do something about this. I mean, you're bottoming out there. People are having to stop almost. So, you know, somebody's going to, I mean, you're supposed to be responsible for your car, but there's an example where you have a problem that's causing people to drive erratically.
Yeah.
And they finally did, they took them some money to fix it, but why do we allow them to do that,
I have no idea. A while back, a few years ago, they paved Liberty Street from 32nd to 38th Street. And just outside of Top's entrance on Liberty, you have a sunken manhole cover, and then you have on the right side, on the south lane going south, you have a sunken manhole cover on one side, and on the other side you have a sunken sewer drain. So the only way you're going to get around it is going to the other lane, because both wheels are going to hit both the manhole cover and the grate. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, I know there's supposed to be, there's a certain criteria. It's not always perfect.
Yeah.
But it's supposed to be like a big drop-off.
Yeah.
So in my conversations with the engineer, I'll kind of ask him, like, you're saying, are they still there, those problems?
Yeah.
They're on.
I go by there quite a bit. I use that road quite a bit.
It's on Liberty, the one, right?
It's just it's about outside the Tops Park entrance on Liberty Street.
Outside the Tops entrance, the one that's closest to the building?
No, it's on the other side. It's on the south lane, the south side lane. It's on the west side of the street.
South side lane.
Yeah.
West side of the street.
Yeah. I mean, it's really bad. You got a sunken grate on one side, and you got the sunken manhole cover on the other side. You can't win. There's no way around it unless you get on the other lane.
When I get up there, sometimes I get up there to visit my mom up in that. We go shopping there.
Yeah.
I'll take a ride by there.
Yeah, get in the west lane going up toward 38th Street. You'll see it.
West side of the street heading towards 38th Street, right?
Yeah. Another thing, they just recently paved West 38th Street from Liberty to Pittsburgh Avenue.
Right.
And coming east, you have to. There's not a manhole cover that's even with the street, not one.
East on 38th.
Yeah, you're coming from Pittsburgh Avenue to Liberty Street.
And there's a lot of them off. I'm going to ask them if those.
I don't know why the city lets these people get away with it.
Well, if they meet criteria, then the criteria is kind of wacky, maybe, Yeah.
Well, who hires these contractors? The city.
Well, they go through a bidding process, and then they're selected.
Okay.
And they're given specs. So I mean, they are given specs as to what has to be done.
Yeah, I mean.
And then, but it's up to us to inspect it afterwards.
Yeah. Well, when they're done paving the street, they ought to have somebody from the street department to check out their job before they pay them.
Well, we do have the engineering department check it out, so that's more in their line of work. And I'll ask and see what happens. I know in the past there's been a lot of complaints. They're supposed to put like rings in there.
Yeah.
That either raise it or lower it.
Yeah, I mean, if they're costing the city, charging the city to do it, and they're not doing it, I mean, you know what I mean? They're kind of screwing the city.
I know they always tell people they got to drive carefully, but you know what? Sometimes at night, under the right conditions with rain and
absolutely,
you can pop one of them easy, and we've all read in the paper how much just the potholes alone are costing people.
Absolutely, yeah.
And that's something that we can't control because of Mother Nature.
Yeah.
But we sure in the heck can control the manholes.
Yeah.
Because when they're repaved, they should be at grade,
Absolutely.
or close.
Yeah. I just want to put my 2 cents in, Kaz.
Yeah, it's not a bad complaint. It's been brought up before. It's been discussed.
Yeah.
And I'll bring it up again and see,
All right.
But I'll take a ride out there because I do get out to.
Yeah, take a ride on Liberty Street between 32nd and 38th in the West Lane, and you'll run into them. It's about outside of Top's entrance.
Okay, yeah, because I get once in a while I go shopping with my mom up there, so we'll.
It's really bad right there. It is really bad. So, all right, hey, good talking to you, Kaz.
You too, and we'll try to get you hopefully something response.
Yeah, I'll call back in a couple weeks to see what's going on.
Yeah, but I'll ask them and see what I'm sure they're going to say some of them meet the criteria, but there's a lot of them out there that are pretty deep.
Yeah, all right. I appreciate it, Kaz. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
That's come up many times about the resurfacing project, and I think that comes down to the fact that it's really our job to make sure they do it right, and sometimes I wonder, I keep hearing from those people up at Jefferson how the school district never put those grates in right, and everybody's getting flooded up there. Go ahead, caller.
Hey, Kaz, how you doing?
Pretty good. How you doing?
Not too bad. Hey, I'm calling in regards to a lady I called 2 weeks ago about International Institute. You know, Kaz, I've looked into this before, and this International Institute, boy, you want to talk about a group that gets away with murder in this city. These guys have all kind of property in the cities they're not paying taxes for. You bring these people in, okay? They bring these people in, they pay their rent for half a year.
I thought it was a year. Oh, go ahead. I thought it was a year, but you could be right.
Yeah, well, maybe they've moved it up. I wouldn't be a bit surprised if it's longer, but I knew it was 6 months because I know landlords who only rent to International Institute because their check is guaranteed every month. But, you know, that lady called and was asking these questions, and you know, I know I've asked you before, I would like to see a representative from International Institute come up on your show and tell us all how much money they get every year of our money. It's our money. Grant money is taxpayers' money.
Absolutely. Government does not make money. Well, they do, but all money that government gets is basically our money.
Right. And I would like to see how much money they get every year and exactly how many people they're bringing into the city of Erie. Because we all hear people are productive and they're working and they work at the plastic shops and the other jobs nobody wants. But, I mean, that's kind of hard to pull over on the taxpayer when they're living in the neighborhoods and you don't see them going anywhere. You know, and I think that would be interesting to know.
Yeah, I knew a lot of them that, well, there's some of them worked here. We have a firm that cleans up City Hall.
Right.
And a lot of them were employed by that firm, but a lot of them had double jobs where they were working there's some kind of pie factory out in West County.
Yeah.
A fruit plant or a pie company. Some worked there. A lot of them worked at the plastics plants, you know.
Right.
But that's, you know, not everybody. That's just the ones I ran into. But it would be interesting. I'm going to make it a point to contact somebody and see if I can pull them on here. Just to, even if they, you know, you hear so many stories about exactly, you know, whether they get tax-free, you know, from the government and all that. And I think it'd be relevant to listen to it, because especially now when you keep hearing that the community is growing by leaps and bounds, you know, but, you know, who's coming here, we don't know really. Would you agree on that? Oop, he must have hung up, but yeah, it brings a valid question. I will try to get somebody from the Institute on here just to, you know, ask them what really is going down and whether we, you know, the stories are true about the tax exempt and properties. Go ahead, caller.
Yeah.
Hey.
I've got a couple questions for you.
Uh-oh, this ought to be good. Let me see.
Oh, I'm looking at the agenda for this week. And I know you haven't been a councilman long.
Yeah.
But you've been down there for 12 years as a controller.
Right. I do.
You haven't missed very many meetings, put it that way. I see these resolutions, and what benefit do you think resolutions have that are delivered to various agencies, various countries? Have you seen any results of these resolutions?
Not usually. I mean, I think sometimes well, first of all, it depends on where the people you're sending it to.
All right, I'll break it down.
Yeah, well, here, John, you know, I think you know what I mean. Like,
yeah, I understand that.
If you send to somebody and they have no interest in what you think, then they're worthless, you know.
That's true. Just like there's a resolution, I won't say who the councilman is, for the civil service deal. You and I have talked about they're changing. The state is tight with money, and they want to probably centrally locate the civil service exam room or board, and Erie is way up in the western end, close to the Canadian border, so they want everything down east and in the middle of the state.
Right, and I think on cases like that where, like they wanted to move the VA hospital, a lot of the operations down...
Federal, and everybody went berserk.
Well, yeah, and I think, you know, it was due to the fact that that's the point where...
That's where the point of everything was, the people, the outcry, and they decided to expand it instead of keep it right here.
Yeah, I think, that's important there. I think if it's resolutions concerning things that are relevant,
Civil service, if a guy wants a job, he's going to make arrangements to go there and take the test.
I know, but realistically, when you're the fourth largest city, and geographically, there's no reason, you can bet your boots, John, that they're not moving the civil service ones out in the east of Pennsylvania.
Oh, they're moving down to Pittsburgh. Everything goes to Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand. Well, it should be, if I was to, if you want to do it right, you have Erie, Pittsburgh, Philly, and Scranton.
But don't you think...
And Harrisburg,
a survey to see how many people have taken a civil service test here as opposed to the other places? And isn't that a determining factor?
I'd like to know, though, how much it costs, okay? Because...
Well, that's the whole thing.
Because you know what?
Backing off on the cost.
We give them, I think they take their tests usually at a public building, for like firehouses or something.
And what's it cost, $50 for the test, or?
Well, yeah, you got to pay that no matter where you go,
True.
So we have a civil service board, what's the cost to have a guy drive up here tomorrow? I'd be curious why they want to move it.
Well, why can't we do it online?
It's not like we could, but just like voting, they haven't crossed that plateau yet. I think the state, I'm not sure, somebody told me on the state you can get the, like liquor control board test.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you can take it on there. That's one I don't know.
That's true. And then there's another resolution here that they want to tell Canada what to do with it. They want to construct a nuclear waste repository in the Great Lakes basins, and they want a resolution to contact the government of Canada. And I didn't know Ontario had a government. I thought they have legislators to reject Ontario Power's proposals.
They probably do have legislators in Ontario. It's like our former government,
That's true, but then
It's built
again,
on
is that something we should be addressing? Shouldn't that be something that the state should be addressing? We've got Asian carp coming in and everything else.
Yeah,
Nobody seems to make a resolution for that, did they?
Well, no, they didn't. And I think a lot of times what I've noticed is the state kind of forgets about Erie.
That's true.
And what we have to do is the ideal thing is, resolution's nice, but you really need to start pounding your legislators, and they need to be the, what I call the water boys.
That's true.
They need to carry the message. But, a resolution doesn't hurt. I don't know if it's going to change the Canadians' mind,
Yeah, I have my doubts there. And there's another resolution.
But a lot of the resolutions we do are like they're going to places where you're just preaching to the choir,
Here's another one on there for the redevelopment authority. There's a property at 540 West 17th Street. Mm-hmm. Who knows how far they're in arrear on taxes, on school taxes, on garbage fees, and they want to waive that so the property can sell. This is the redevelopment authority.
Yeah, I want to see, before I vote on that one, I want an understanding of what's coming in there, why we're waiving it, what's and what's the payback, what's going to happen positive there. I have no problem in helping somebody develop a piece of property if it has a long-term gain for the city. You know what I'm saying, John? If you got a bad piece of property, regretful as it was up there on 38th Street, and I had to hold my nose when I voted on that car wash, because I think the gentleman who owns it needs to keep it clean.
That's true.
But, long range,
If he cleans it and puts something in and it's taxable, I can see it.
That's what I'm saying. I just wish that it doesn't come to the point that we leave something laying around for 5 years, looking like a garbage pit.
It's just like the proposal for the Bayfront. Now they're coming before the Bayfront Hotel. They're coming before the zoning board.
I thought we didn't have how'd they put it? We don't have any juice in the game. How'd they put that comment? Do you remember, John?
For the juice factory?
No. When they were saying, why did you deal with the city and the school district?
You don't have any juice in the fire or something?
Yeah, they made some smart comment like.
Fire? Well, they're giving $6 $65,000 a year for 20 years. That's $1 million.
Isn't it funny that, let's see, there would be no authority if the city and Lou Tullio hadn't done it a long time ago.
That's true.
And who was subsidizing them for many years?
The city.
Right, and how, who subsidized the ballpark when we needed matching funds? That was the parking authority.
Yes.
And
The city.
it's just amazing that now all of a sudden, now we got some juice in the game.
Yeah, who gave them $1.5 million to run a water line?
Yep, well, they got short memories.
Who shut down Nick Scott because he was going to build his too high?
They even said, they made a comment that he's never completed a project. I don't know if they meant public or what, but boy, I tell you what, if you go up to Peach Street, there sure looks like there's a lot of projects.
He has a lot of projects, he has a lot more in the fire.
And he's got one in New York State, I think, that did rather well this year.
Yes, he is.
Even when a lot of people couldn't run that place properly, it looks like now it's relevant again.
And yet they're taking $1.6 million to a Denver firm.
Right, and this is, I'm going to make a disclaimer. I do not get it. Mr. Scott and I are not on a, what do you call it?
Besides.
Yeah, I talked to him, and
You're not paisans.
yeah, we don't go out together, and I don't go in his circles, but I respect him as a businessman, and I've said that before. That it's easy to say somebody doesn't follow through when they have to use their own money, and now they're saying, well, he's going to get money in this other project. So what?
We don't have architectural firms up here. This firm is a firm that designed the Erie Insurance Arena, and yet they were $1 million or $2 million short with the scoreboard.
Well, I think the fault there, now I will say this, the design, I don't blame him for going out of town because that's kind of a specialty job, okay? But building a hotel doesn't seem like that's really that much.
Oh.
We have architectural firms that should happen. Now, what happened there, John, with the scoreboard and everything,
They underbid.
that was the general contractor, I believe it was. I'm trying to remember. I was at the meeting, and he gave the wrong message to the contractors.
And he underbid it.
Well, what happened, no, they overbid, because what happened was, he gave them the impression, if I remember the way it was said at the meeting, they had to get the building done in 2 years.
Well, yeah.
But they didn't sit down and explain to them how they were going to do it. The contractors all thought, well, if we're under that kind of pressure, then we're going to have to hire overtime and everything.
Just with that hotel, Kidder's involved in that a lot. So why are they sending Roger Richards down to Denver to seal the deal? That doesn't make sense to me. You think you'd have the architect who is involved go down and do it.
I think there's architectural firms that could build that hotel. I don't think, what are we putting in that hotel? I mean, an arena, you can say,
different.
Well, I mean, yeah, arenas are designed with, it's a anybody can design an arena, but if you want it done right with, so that it can be expanded, it can...
rooms, and, you have your kitchen area, your banquet rooms.
And you know what, when they build arenas today, they're building them different, with the amenities and that was a tough job, but, I mean, we're building a hotel. I mean, why would we have to have a specialty firm for a hotel?
I have no idea. It's.
I'm not saying they're not a respectable company. They are. They're one of the best. But I mean, But I think I had a lot of people ask me. I mean, there's nobody in Erie that can do that.
You think it's follow the money?
Well, you know what? I can't prove that. I can't say it. But
I can.
It brings when you do things like that, it starts to make the public wonder. And
you have an executive director saying, "Oh, it's going to go through right away." How many people on that rezoning board will go down and look and weigh everything?
Mr. Wagner would have, but
well, he's a different brood of an animal. He took care and he took a special interest in his job. He went to everything that was going to be rezoned. He talked to people. He gave them all he had, and then when he had his meeting, he gave everybody enough time to talk and explain, and he then still looked again.
Was that the comment that was made? Was that it's going to be a quick decision?
That's what Casey Wells said.
A lot of... I'm going to have to talk to Casey sometime, because there's a lot of comments that come out that I find hard to believe, that...
It's that the zoning board's going to roll over, and your board there is going to say, okay, we recommend it. Armin's going to say, the board here, the recommendations is go ahead and do it.
Where was that comment made? In the paper?
It's in the paper.
Well, I don't get the paper, so.
Well, it's in
But you know what,
this morning's paper, section B.
You know what, that kind of comment is not a comment that anybody,
In public view should make.
no. I mean, you could say, I'm confident that I will get the votes to go forward, you know, after they see the merits of the case. That would be okay, but to say it's a guarantee, a lock, that makes people wonder, you know, what's going on, you know.
That's true. That's what, that's where I am.
You can always say, you know, I'm confident that once they see the merit of the project, it's going to go forward, you know.
That's true. So, I'll get off.
But that's okay, you know.
Other things, if nobody calls, I'll call back.
That same guy, I'll tell you, made a comment once that we'd never need a bigger arena, too.
Yeah, I understand that too.
I'm looking at one now, it's got 2,500 more seats.
That's true. And what it has is sweet boxes for the elite.
Oh, yeah, what happened to our, the club that was supposed to be open to the public is now a private
Yeah,
private
what
loft.
happened to the cheap seats?
Private loft up there now.
No,
But,
we're cheap here in area. We want cheap seats.
yeah, don't let me be able to take my wife to a sports bar up in that place, you know, like other arenas.
We're taking mortgage with you. Have a good one.
But sometimes you don't mind it, John, you know.
Alrighty.
Wow, that was, I'll tell you what. When you make comments like that, people start to wonder. And you can't blame them. But I said before, the hotel, it may be needed, and it's just the way they went about it. Go ahead, caller.
Hi, Kaz. I'm the lady that called a couple weeks ago about the International Institute. First of all, I want to, I didn't know you were on every week, so first of all, I want to say the manhole covers, if you're making a list, the ones from 38th Street from Old French Road over to Pine Avenue, those ones are really bad too.
Old French to Pine Avenue.
Old French Road there.
Yeah, to Pine Avenue.
Yep.
On East 38th?
Yep.
I must miss them. What side is there? I drive that often. Which ones are bad on there?
South side of the street.
South side? I'll make sure I go. I usually go up Pine Avenue. I'll make sure I go over 38 today.
Yeah, okay. And then the plowing, I think they did a good job this year. This new guy, he's doing a pretty good job.
Yeah, I think he did. And I think, a lot of people get mad, the same old complaints about they covered my driveway, my sidewalk. But you know what? It's a hell. If you ever watch them at night, we're all inside tucked away and the snow's blowing, and they're working hard.
Yeah, I was impressed. They hit some of the schools, on the days that they, we usually don't have plowing and stuff. So that was really good. Like yesterday, they went around and did the schools and stuff. So
yeah, it was. For a freaks, I didn't expect much yesterday because it's late in the year. But I was surprised. They had my street cleaned.
I was surprised too. They did good.
Yeah, and the caught it. It's one of those freak ones at the end of the year that they could have easily had the plows off and everything.
Yeah, that's true. So anyway, he did good this year, so hope we continue with him. The International Institute, were you able to find out anything about the properties, how many properties they have, or if they're allowed to exempt their...
I'm trying to find out who to talk to over there. I want to talk to the right person, and I am going to try to invite them on the show, if they'll come.
Well, to tell you the truth, I did call there a few years back, and I spoke with the guy at the institute down there, and he was quite rude to me, and he didn't want to let me know anything about the tax exempt. He told me to go online to International Institute, and I did that, and wasn't really able to find out a lot of information, but that was a couple years back, so I'm not quite sure how they get all their funding and what exactly it is that they do.
I think a lot of it, if there's government money involved, and I believe there is, then they have to have a level of transparency. It just depends. For instance, if we give out money to, let's say, St. Martin Center, or we do too. If we give money to any of these places, we are allowed to inquire as to how the money's being used. So there is a level of transparency. You may have to file what they call a Freedom of Information request,
Really?
Yeah, but, under the law, any citizen can, if you want to know something, like say if you come to City Hall and you ask me a question, more than likely I'll tell you what it is if it's permitted under the law. But if I refuse you, you have the right to put a request in writing, and then we have to reply back to you why we're not giving it to you. And then you have an outlet in Harrisburg that can override it. And if they got government money, I'm pretty sure they fall under the same rules. But you know what, I'll have to check on that, if they're under the Freedom of Information Act.
Okay, because like I said, I have tried on my own to get information from them, and they don't want to give me anything, so.
Well, you know, agencies that, well, you know, they're a different breed. They're not like, you know, I'm not sure how they function. But government, like authorities and everything, they have to answer the public. You know, the public, they try to, I'm not saying ours do, but if you can keep people in the dark, that's better, they think. You know, so you have to know your rights. And I tell people all the time that there are Freedom Right to Know Act that, you know, that does give the citizen a right to ask questions.
Okay.
Now,
well, that's good to know, because we're going to go back to this to that in a minute. But with the International Institute, yeah, if there's any way that you would follow up on that for us and just let us know, like, approximately, like, how many houses? I mean, because that was my main thing, was that if they are allowed to tax exempt those houses.
That's a good question. I mean, the houses that are started by agencies sometimes fall under that, you know, like the Housing Authority.
Okay.
But I'm not sure about, you know, the International Institute. Whether if they own it, that may be one thing. But sometimes they just put people up in houses, you know. I'll check into that for you, though.
Okay.
Because it seems to be more.
I think that would be kind of important because, like you said, if they're tax exempt and they're getting all these tax exempt properties, and we're not getting taxes from that. Which brings me to what I saw in the news today about Erie Rise. Because I had told you that I had went to the charter school meeting, a school board meeting that they had. Now, did you happen to hear about the Erie Rise in the news today?
Is the Erie Rise the one that exists or the one they want to start?
Erie Rise already exists.
Yeah, that's the one that was at Sacred Heart, correct?
I don't know where it's at. I don't know. No idea.
Is that the one under Mr. Myers, or?
I really don't know, but that brings me to your question about the putting request in writing from the citizens, because if you recall, one of my main beefs about the charter schools was when I attended that meeting, is that the school board members were asking them financial questions, and they kept telling the school board that it's none of their business. So then, when I was watching about charter schools, after that I've done a little more research, and there is something in somebody's court that they say that they're a private entity, so they don't have to tell their financial situations. So, and you said that as long as it's government money, we should be able to. I mean, they're taking our tax money. I want to know what they're doing with that tax money.
Well, you know,
so with this Erie Rise, according to the one news station today, the Attorney General is checking into them for double-dipping salaries and the school not performing up to snuff like it should, and all of the things that I've been concerned about with these charter schools all along. And they had something on the news about it today. So if there were things like, can any of us go to that school and say, hey, what are you guys doing with our tax money? I want to know what you're doing with our tax money. My tax dollars is going to this. I want to know what you're doing. And if they did do anything like that, can we get our money back for them double-dipping salaries and things like that?
I'll tell you what I'll do. I know the attorney, a couple of them that do the school district. And I will try to contact them, and because I'm not, you know, when I was a school board member, it was a brand new, the charter schools were just coming out. And I'll ask him, like, you know, what's changed over the years, and whether citizens can put in a request for information, or if they are considered private. I don't believe they are, because, you know, you're getting the money that would have went to the public school.
Could you find out that for us?
Yeah, I'm going to ask you a couple of the attorneys if they can fill me in real quick on your rights and whether, you know, how far the public can go to question. But I'm sorry, if the Attorney General gets involved, that usually tells you that, you know, the state, because there's state funds involved, they're involved. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because the state is the one that, what they're doing is that the state would send that money to the school district, but now it's being taken away from the school district and it's being sent over to the charter school. So, yes, I think there is probably a level of accountability there. I will check to see if they fall under the, what they call the Right to Know Act, okay?
Okay.
Usually where government money is, there's some level of accountability there. Not everything, but at least the money that they get sent to them from the government.
Well, that's fine if we know about the money from the government, but they're also getting our local tax dollars from our school district.
Well, that's what I meant. That's the money we're talking about. We're talking about the money that would normally have gone. See, what happens when they form a school, they get the amount of money that's assigned to each student, whatever that total is. And that money now goes, for every one of the students that they take from our district, that money follows the student. You follow me, ma'am?
Yeah, I gotcha.
In other words, if they get like 30 kids out of the Erie School District and they get 30 kids out of Mill Creek, then that money leaves each one of those school districts. That's my understanding of the way it works, and the money follows the student then. So that's the government money. Now they can charge tuition too, but they do come in. They do get some of that subsidy from the state, which now gets taken away from the local school district.
Right, exactly. And like I said, after going to that meeting, I'm totally against these charter schools now because I found out, well, it's in my opinion, that I think it's just a money-making scam for these people. It's all big money now. And
well, it is. All they got to do is find a need. And, that's easy to find. You can always find a need. You can have 5 kids that aren't being taken up, and that's what they'll do. And
I even heard that recently they're checking it out and putting it on like the stocks and stuff because the education is getting to be such big business because of this privatizing the education like this.
Well, some of them that are coming in here, that one that the boys club is pushing.
Right.
I think that's kind of like, that's not a local charter like the Ben Wiley School was, or the Rise Academy even. That was a local thing. The one Mr. Horton's trying to start, that's a local one. But the one the boys club's starting, that's tied in with I'm trying to think of the name of the group. It's almost like it is a business coming in here looking for a location.
Yes, I think so, exactly, because they had the lawyer with it and everything. Actually, after I went to that school board meeting on my own, I followed up with it, and I called Boys Club, the national number, and I spoke to a few representatives there, and I let them know what was happening here, and they told me this is a local charter, and for me to get a hold of the people that are on the board, but of course, the people that are on the board for the Boys Club were at that school board meeting, and they want the Boys Club to come in because it's going to be free money for them. They're all going to make all this money and everything, so of course they'd want it to come in. So the board's really not going to help me out. So what I told them was that I'm going to correlate a bunch of citizens that are, citizens against taxes, the citizens against the tax-paying citizens against the Boys Club, I guess, or something like that. Because there's no reason why all these people should be coming in and getting these schools to make this money. I don't even understand why they need it. They don't need it. We don't need the school.
Yeah, if they got some kind of outfit that's going to run their school, then they're going to make money off it somehow.
Oh, well, of course, the cyber schools are making money because they get all that money, and here they're advertising. I hear they have money to advertise.
Well, yeah.
Advertising funds instead of putting those funds towards our kids, towards the kids that go to that school. They have so much money left over they can advertise. It's just getting to the point where it's out of hand, and taxpayers really need to get up and fight against this because not only are we going to lose a bunch of our tax money because every year they're going to charge more and more, but we're going to lose the education for our kids, which I think is really important.
It just, this all started years ago when you had the debate of public versus private. And I think the charter schools is the way that the state is kind of going around it. And now it's getting to be a nightmare. I mean, you got charters all over the place. And who are they accountable to,
And like I said, every year they're just going to demand more and more money from us. So that was my other question to you was that, if we were allowed to go ahead and ask what they're doing with this money. And is there any way, is there any limit on these charter schools that can come in?
Probably not. I mean, it was always explained to me when I was a board member that if they can prove a need, the school district cannot deny them on the basis of finances alone. In other words, even though it may hurt the school district, that is not a relevant, a relative, that's not a reason to turn them down.
Well,
So you can only turn them down on the fact that there's not a need for them. And that's hard to prove because they'll find something and they'll just keep hammering at you until they cross all the T's and dot all the I's until they finally, get the perfect document.
well, it's harder on the taxpayers, and like I said, the taxpayers need to stand up and fight against this. So I guess the only way to do that is like go to Harris, or you would start writing Harrisburg, or
Yeah, they want everybody to have like one-on-one training, and that's nice, but we don't even do that for our public schools right now. And when they do that, see, that there's the hole. They say that some students need one-on-one training and we can give it to them. Or, we have a school that deals with people of certain needs, certain ethnic needs, whatever, whatever they come up with. You have one school that's going to start now because they perceive a weakness in our how we treat the immigrant students, And if they can find that, there's probably a good chance that, you'll get a charter school for different reasons. And look at the number that have started. They all claim that they're set up for a different problem. But, very rare do they, even when they get turned down, they come back and they eventually get okayed.
Well, I hope that doesn't happen to these couple ones. I hope somehow we get to put them off or whatever. But I know I've taken up a lot of your time, and if you could just go ahead and check into those couple things I've asked you, I really would appreciate that.
I'm going to call up a couple of those attorneys and ask them. We took a class on it, and there's one time a year where this one law firm has a seminar for government officials.
Okay.
And I don't go to the school board ones anymore because they're not relevant to my, anymore to being that I'm with the city now. So I go to those and I know how the right to know law works that way, but I'm not sure how it works for for these charter schools and all that, but I'll check on it for you.
Okay.
It shouldn't be a big, all they're going to tell me is you can do it or you can't do it. And if you do it, there's a form that you fill out. And they have to answer you either why they won't or why they will,
Okay.
And they have to do it if they're underneath that. And I'll check. I'm not sure if they fall under that act because I don't know how the Commonwealth did that. But I know with a lot of authorities, they have to answer you.
Okay, thanks a lot, Kaz.
Okay.
Have a good day.
You too. We certainly have it's a different world today, and it seems like the more authorities and the more agencies we have outside the main government, these problems will rise. Go ahead, caller.
Hello?
Yes, you're on.
Oh.
Yeah, you're probably hearing the TV in the background, so you might want to turn it down.
Okay, I'll do that. Wait a second.
Okay. Yeah, what you want to do is turn your TV down because you're going to hear back feed.
I got it down.
There you go. Go ahead.
Hey, just one quick thing. You really ought to put some kind of limit on how long people can talk on this. I've been trying to get on here for an hour. And
I will, because for a while there, the show was getting kind of, I appreciate your comment. For a while there, I was sitting here twiddling my thumbs many times.
Oh.
But it seems to be, I think we'll try that a little bit, like 5 or 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And,
it doesn't have to be real short. Just
yeah, sometimes it's hard because sometimes I sit here and if I don't have a guest, I'm talking to myself and that's not good.
Yeah.
I mean, I get bored real quick.
What I called about, you should remember this. There was a time when the trash fee was part of your real estate taxes, right?
Yes, it was up until I'm thinking it was. I think I was married then too. It was about time Joyce Savacchio was mayor.
Yeah.
So I would have been married. Yeah, I was a renter then, so I was paying my landlord.
And why in the world did they ever change it?
Oh, they changed it because what happened was, if you remember, we didn't do a lot of reassessments back then. Do you remember?
Oh, yeah.
There was a time when, we went like, 20 or 30 years without an assessment?
Yeah, that's right.
And so what happened was, the city reached a threshold where they couldn't raise taxes without going to court.
Oh.
They had to get a judge's permission. Now, the school districts at the time, it's different now, they had no limit. They could raise theirs every year.
Uh-huh.
And that was, one provision under the School District Act. But the cities and the boroughs and all that, they had a limit to how far they could go. So I guess there was a reluctance to raise real estate taxes. And I'm trying to remember, I might be off on how it happened, but I think they instituted an occupational privilege tax, which was like about $10.
Yeah, I remember that.
And then they put the garbage separate as a fee.
Yeah.
But I think I was told, and I haven't done my research, I've been trying to find out here. I think there was a time when even though it was separated from the real estate, it was tied into your water or your sewer bill.
Oh.
And so there was no problem then because you could get your water turned off.
Right.
Somewhere after that, it was taken out and there was a separate fee, and that's where this problem started.
Yeah.
But yes, you're right. I think it was Joyce Savacchio, and she had it was a decision that I think they just didn't want to raise taxes anymore.
Well.
And so they decided to do it that way, which, looking at it now, might have been a mistake.
Well, now I might be remembering this wrong, but it seems to me that Mario Bagnoni was just really upset with this and said, people won't pay it if we do this.
Mm-hmm. And even advised people not to pay.
Yeah, I think he might have even done that.
But I can't remember if he done that.
But I know he was really radically against doing this for this reason, that people were going to do it. What are you going to do about it?
Yeah, and then, but I can't remember for that, I'd have to go, Jimmy Clem's not here right now. He's like the master of information.
Yeah.
I'd have to ask Jimmy, like, the chronological line or how it happened, where, at what point did Mario take his stand?
Yeah, because if it was still part of your taxes, it'd get paid. There would be no, or else they'd sell your house, right?
Well, yeah, right now, the things we're looking at as a council was, there's only a few things we can do that make sense. One, to put it back into the real estate taxes, and there's a reluctance on some people. They think that's unfair because the people with the higher valued property are going to pay more than the lower property, And the other thing we can do is we have to attach it to either water or the sewer. If we do that, then we'll have the ability to turn off the water.
Yeah.
The other way, if it's in the taxes, if you don't pay your taxes, then your house goes up for
sale.
Right. So, right now it's a bad system where it's sitting out there in no man's land.
Yeah.
And lien is, what good's a lien until they sell their property, or if they ever do, or even who knows what shape the property will be in, a lien's almost worthless, until such time, down the line.
I don't think they're filing the liens the way they should anyway.
Well, I plan on going to the courthouse. I said I was going to do it, and I haven't got over there yet. But I'm going to check a few and see just how many are on file.
Yeah.
So I can report back. This has to stop. The people I talk to, the average citizen, they're not worried if we do this, put the bills together and all that. We can try to work on the timing so they don't get hit hard. But we have to do something because the way the system is now, it's not working.
No, not at all.
It's,
quick question. How's Jim Clem doing?
He comes in every once in a while. He's okay. He decided to retire. He's got issues at home with his wife. And he's a good man, and he's been thinking about this for a while, and so
Yeah.
But he's okay physically. I talked to him. He was here about a couple of weeks ago, and he's always been the one guy you could always go to when you needed an answer.
To find something out.
Well, he had what do you call institutional memory. Like when you're our age, I don't know how old you are, but we remember a lot of this stuff. The young kids don't remember it.
I'm a lot older than you, I think.
Well, that make me feel good at least then. But I tell kids, especially the young councilmen and everything, a lot of the stuff that's coming around has already been tried before.
Yeah, that's right.
We've already been in that barn, and we're just going back again. But it's strange. That's why when you have somebody like Jimmy around, you can ask him and you say, yeah, that was like when they were thinking about putting people at the end of the meetings to speak. That was tried before.
Oh, that was a bad idea.
Yeah, it was a bad idea when they first did it. What makes it better the second time?
Right.
But
hey, well, I got to go.
I think we got to get going too. But hey, you know what? I will. What do you think? 5 minutes? 10 minutes?
Oh, 10 minutes would be all right. That'd at least give 6 people a chance.
Yeah, even John is, John's been cutting back, so he's, sometimes I needed a few people because it was, thank God we have callers now because for a while it was getting real slow and it's hard to keep yourself going.
Yeah, I suppose that's true.
Unless you make a lot of notes, but.
Especially when you're there by yourself.
Yeah, I don't mind it though. It's a nice 1 hour for a week.
Yeah. Okay.
And thank you for calling. Like always, I appreciate all the callers.
Okay.
And you can, if they even want to cut me up, it doesn't matter,
Okay. Yeah. Just a minute.
Okay.
Can I ask a quick question?
You can ask a quick question.
Please.
You'll be the last caller, so go ahead.
Hi, I'm Jim's wife. You were just talking to him.
Yeah.
I was trying to get a hold of you. This arm wrestling thing.
Yeah.
Is nobody upset besides me with the way they did this?
You mean that one that's on national TV?
Hello?
You're probably hearing the TV in the background. Turn it down.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Gosh, I'm sorry. Is nobody upset with this arm wrestling thing? The way they painted Erie?
I didn't watch it.
My God.
What did they say? I mean, I'll be truthful. I'm not an arm wrestling fan,
I'm not either.
and I didn't watch it. But what did they say?
It was on A&E or something.
Yeah.
It's where they put it. It looks like they were in, I don't know, some basement, dirty old basement, and it was hideous. If you can get a copy of it, you should look at it.
Didn't our group win or not?
I don't even know. I got so upset.
I'll try to ask somebody if.
Where they put it.
And if I can get I don't know if I can get a replay of it, but.
Oh, this city has worked so hard to better itself.
Yeah, usually when you try to get, I'm sure they could have had it in one of our.
The producers wanted to look bad. That's what I heard.
Yeah, if that's what they want, I would love to see it. And I'm not the producer. I would love to see it like, and I'm not picking on any local bar.
I know.
But pick one like, Gold Crown Billiards or someplace that's, where you can have a nice little crowd watching and, cheering on.
Oh, it was hideous.
And, you always like to show your better side, like, you could have, I bet you some local businessmen.
And in part of the train station.
Oh, my husband just told me they had it in the abandoned part of the train station.
Oh, in Erie?
Yeah. Yeah, it was in Erie.
Probably down in the basement, right?
It was hideous.
They could have put it, you'd think if they put it in Rotunda, it would have been nice,
Yeah, they could have put it anywhere.
You would have had local people there,
They painted such an awful picture of Erie.
They must do it to all the towns then, if this sounds like.
For 73 years, and I think this city is gorgeous.
I'm going to watch that, Joe, because I remember we used to have the bowling tournament here. That we always got nice PR on that.
Right.
And I hope we did on the Women's 8 that was played at the arena recently.
Oh, yeah.
Because those things are nice when you watch one team, even if you're not a fan of sports.
Yeah.
Whatever you are, you got to like it when.
Well, I'm not an arm wrestling person either, but because it was on A&E.
Oh, but if it's on national TV, you hope they paint a nice picture,
And it was here in Erie. I was never so upset in my life.
Yeah, I don't like it when, I like them, I want them to think our town is, we're tough, but we also, we're also a great city,
Yeah, we're not morons.
I'm going to make it a point to watch the show and see if they do that to all the cities,
Well, I don't care about the other ones, but they made us look hideous. Hideous. And, Erie's worked too hard.
Yep, we do have an image problem in this town, and a lot of it is our own citizens who, when they go out of town, say, I'm from Drury, Erie. I never say that.
Oh, they still say that?
I don't say that because, you know what? Our problem is we don't have enough faith in ourselves.
Drury, Erie, the mistake on the lake.
We need to have more faith in ourselves. We got to, we shouldn't be afraid to...
Well, we got that downtown Erie, that dock. We've got the peninsula.
Well, yeah, the waterfront. We should be...
Yeah.
The waterfront is our key to the... when people come here, they only see a little piece of Erie.
Oh, yeah.
And it should be where they're going to be the majority of the time. You hope they see the best we have to offer.
Oh, yeah. And we're close to the peak. I mean, there is so much in this city.
It is, we got our, let's say we do have our bad areas like every town. But, when you're downtown or down to waterfront, that should be the image you want people to see, is that, you're a vibrant city. Or when you come off that airplane at the Erie International, and, you come down 12th Street, that's what you're going to see. You're not going to see, you're going to see the road you come in. That's what you want to make sure is the best.
Yeah. Well, I love our city, and I've lived here all my life.
I like to get down on it, and I like to, prod it to move forward.
Oh, me too.
But I've never moved out of the town,
Yeah, no, me either. We've traveled, and, but it's a nice size city. It's, my husband and I go to Maine every year, or we used to, we don't now. And we go to Booth Bay Harbor, and it's not as big as Erie, but the people that came there, because they had the lake, this little lake, and the boats, and,
I'd like us to be the old 130,000 we used to be.
Yeah.
And, have nice neighborhoods again and businesses, just like the old days, and, that's going to be a tough one.
I'm a neighborhood girl. I love neighborhoods.
They did have their own little culture.
Yeah. Well, we're not too bad, but...
No, I can remember when I lived in my neighborhood, wherever you lived, that was like you were like aliens to us. There was so many neighborhoods. Everybody had their own little culture in there.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes you didn't know the people 2 blocks from you because it was so.
Yeah.
It was so centered on that.
Ethnic. Yeah.
Yeah, the town was vibrant. It was just hard to explain to people that didn't live through it.
Yeah. Well, I think it's still a beautiful city. We have too many guns.
Yeah, we have some work to do, but...
I never remember murders, and I remember years and years ago there was a murder in Erie. Thompson, I think her name was. And they lived on 26th Street. A big house on 26th Street. And there was Millie Thompson.
I remember that.
Frank Boomna or something. And there was a murder. And everybody was just outraged. They couldn't believe it.
Well, in the old days, the murders were like... You could almost tell, like, chronologically, oh, yeah, that was the year of the Millie Thompson murder, Now you can't remember them because you got gunplay, that's common now.
Yeah, that's a shame.
Yeah, it is.
These poor kids, I feel bad for them. They're not getting what they deserve. They need to be educated.
No, we have to start taking steps. That's why I'm happy when I hear about the Sisters of St. Joseph. Their mission into the east side now.
Oh, yeah.
We got to start a block at a time and take back the city, and it's going to be a tough one. Those aren't easy decisions anymore.
Pretty tough, believe me. I went to the villa for 12 years with the nuns, and they can be pretty tough.
Well, they're interesting because
if anybody's going to straighten it out, it'll be them.
You hear a lot of people talking a lot of talk, but they're putting their words to work. Or, if you look at the west side of town, they've done a lot of work in 18th Street. Is it perfect? No, but it's a lot better than it could have been.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I lived in the northeast or northwest part of town all my life, and I think it's beautiful.
Yeah, we got to get neighborhoods back. People, we got to get people to work. Start pushing out the bad elements and get back to what we used to be. And that's going to be it's like that all over the country. It's $1 million question.
Yeah. Well, okay. Thanks, Kaz.
And thank you, and I'll check on that for you. Okay. Okay.
All right. Bye.
And with that, I have to go off the air because we're past our time. And it's okay. Mike has work to do. So thank you very much.
Hey, thank you. Bye.
And thank you for tuning in. And we'll see you again here next week.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have been watching the Taxpayers Hotline Show on Erie's own Government Access, Channel 9.